Well, here's the container I'm going to be using. This was a container that belonged to one of my great-granddaughters, and she no longer wants to use it for what she used it for. So I'm going to make my fairy garden in here. I think I may go back and put some more sand in because I want to have the lower part for the water and the ocean waves coming up. But I want my little boat in-house up in here. So I guess I'm going to have to go put some more sand. And as you can tell, there's grass in here because Grandma is cheap, as we all know. So I filled this up with grass clippings. And I do have a bag of sand, and I used the bag of sand on top of the grass clippings because I didn't want to spend a lot of money. Putting this together, you know how cheap I am. There's no real soil in here at all. It really is just sand and grass clippings. I may eventually dump it out and use it for something else, but I thought this would be a great container because it's blue and it'll represent the ocean all around this beautiful little fairy garden. Well, now I have put a piece of handy wrap in between the sand and my pebbles I'm going to put down, and the why I did that was to keep moisture from getting in there and washing all my little pebbles into the sand. Hopefully, I don't know if it's going to work, hopefully it's going to keep the pebbles separated from the sand for it'll last a little longer and look prettier out in my miniature garden. I've never tried doing it this way, but I thought I'd try it and see what happens. Well, so far I think I'm happy. That was about a bag and a fourth that I got that much covered. I was pretty surprised and happy that it covered that much. I do have some white rock that we'll use for the sand, and we'll go from there. Now I'm going to place some of my pieces about and see how they look. I'm trying to get some ideas of how I want it to look before I finish the next half, because if I mess it up, I don't have anything else to replace. I have 2 more bags of white rocks for my sand for the other part. That's more than enough to do it because, as you can see, this was only a bag and a fourth, and it looks pretty good, and it's covered really good. The best part of all, you can see that it has some depth, that it was lower at one end and worked my way up. And that way, the boat is not flat. You can see that the bottom of the boat is in the water, and the top with the anchor is pulled up onto the sand. That's what it will look like when I'm finished. I still have to put my fairy and a couple other accessories in, so we'll see how it's going to look. I may go get a few succulents and stick in here just for their photo op, but I'll probably put them in a different container because there's no soil in this at all. There's just some sand, and I don't know if the succulents would survive with 0 soil. So let's go and see what else I'm going to do, but this is, I think, how I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to lay a few more pieces down and see how I like it. Honestly, I think I'm just going to leave the little table and chairs and the little house by the pier and the boat and leave it with just that. I'm going to add some succulents because the other pieces I think are too big and they're too close together in this container. And if I had turned it the other way, maybe I could have made it work. But truthfully, I sort of still like it the way I have. I have some room to put some succulents back there. I still have a nice little water scene, and I think it looks pretty nice. So it'll look better once I get it finished, and I may move the building over a little more into the center and move the little tables and chairs. But I think it looks really nice, and I'm really loving it. These pieces, believe it or not, proportionally, they were a little too big. These 3 pieces work perfectly together. And I'm still deciding if I want to use the fence with my first one or with this one, because either way, it would still work fine. But I'm really happy so far, and we'll see how it works. This might end up being 2 fairy gardens the way it looks. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, so I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. I have a paper towel here I've put some milk on, and one of the guys at work told me if I clean carefully these leaves with this paper towel with milk, all these messy water spots will disappear and they'll be shiny and beautiful again. We'll see. I don't know if it works, but we'll see. Well, this one I have done. It does look a lot better. At first I didn't think it was doing anything, but it does look better, and I'll show you the one I haven't done yet. And we'll see how it's going to look when I'm done. It does work. It was a lot of work, a lot of time. So it's up to you if you want your leaves to look pretty when you plant something new. But I do have to admit, it does look better. Thank you so much for stopping by and seeing what I accomplished with a little bit of milk and a paper towel. And this idea came from one of my co-workers at work. Well, as you can see, I cut 2 succulent flowers off and polished them up with some milk on a paper towel. And this is what we've got so far. Going to keep working until we get it all planted up, and then we'll put all the rocks, and I'm going to put some little rocks and stones near those trees to help support them from falling over. Well, as you see, I got all my plants planted. I still have the handy wrap around to keep the rocks from all going into the sand. That will help my total cost of this. And as you can see, all the plants were cutting, so there is no root system to hold there and support their weight. So I had some little rocks in the sand, picked them out, and used them for supports. I think it looked pretty good. It'll be much better once I get my little white rocks all around for the sand. But so far we're into this $3 worth of Dollar Tree pebbles, and a fourth would be a quarter, so $3.25 for pebbles, and $13 for the fairy kit, so that's $16.25, and everything else. Well, really, we're going to get 2 fairy gardens out of sort of. We'll see how much the next one costs, but this one, let's see, what did I end up using? 1, 2, 3. I used about half because I'm not going to use the fence because I already got all my plants in and there's no room for the fence. So I really was even less than that. What are we going back? We're going to count it again. We probably could figure $2 for the house, $1 for the boat, $1 for the table and chair. So there is 2, 3, 4, maybe $4, $5. We'll say 5. We'll give them a net. We'll give it $5. And so remind me that when I make the next fairy garden, we have $8 because I was $13 altogether for the fairy kit. And so I took $5 off, and I used 5, 8, $8.25, $8.25 to put this fairy garden together. And that includes the fairy supplies and the pebbles. The rocks holding and supporting the plants are just from the sand, so there's no cost for that. I haven't even opened the bag of rocks that was in this kit, so it's still intact. So let's get it finished up now that I got all my support pieces in, and let's see how it looks. Well, is it not looking better? And I purposely scattered some of the white rocks near the shore for it'll look like some little white foam. What do you think? I thought it turned out really, really nice. I still have some more white rocks if I decide I want to add a little more white foam to my water. We'll see. I probably may end up getting some other stuff to make this look even better. But I need to buy something, and right now I'm not going to use it for this fairy garden. I will do a little touch up later down the road. But I have a lot more water features that I'm going to be doing in the near future that I already have pieces for. So this one, what did we say, $8? $8.25? But it turned out pretty nice, don't you think? Here it is, all finished, an $8 fairy garden. I did end up using some more rocks, so I put it back for $8.25 because this is all I have left now. I had to use it to support and bring my tiles up to be level, for we could have a nice little boardwalk around our home. Well, not really a home, it's a pier home. And a table and chair set for you could sit down and eat while you were at the pier. and a walkway for all the fairies or anyone that wants to stroll by. And we have the weight. I still have not got a string, but we'll just make believe the string is there to hold that boat in place. I thought it turned out really nice. Let me know what you think. And I still have enough pieces to add another fairy garden together. Still need to put it out in the fairy garden, but I thought it turned out pretty nice. I'll see if I can find a place for it. Well, we found a temporary home right now for our fairy garden. So what do you think? Thought it turned out pretty nice considering $8 and a lot of repurposed pieces. The container is a repurposed piece. The tiles are repurposed from something I already owned and had. The plants are all cuttings off of my garden. And the only thing that was new is the little boat, the little house, and the table and chairs. So, and of course, the gravel. What do you think? Did you think I nailed it, or do you think I should have done something else? You know, Grandma, I repurpose as much as I can to keep my costs down as low as I can. Hope you enjoyed what I put together today.